Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very pleased to be on this panel with a couple of great, accomplished founders. I'll just start by giving an introduction about myself and what we do at Stride Ventures, and then I'll let everybody here introduce themselves before we start our session. So my name is Apoorva. I'm a partner at Stride Ventures. Stride is a venture debt fund. We've been very active over the last 30 years, last 30 months, and last 3 years. And now we have invested in about 60 portfolio companies across sectors, across stages. We lend to growth stage startups for their working capital requirement, their capex requirement, runway extension, products like that. And we recently won the Venture Debt Fund of the Year award as well. I'll pass on the mic to Champ from GOQii.
Hey, hi, this is Champ, one of the co-founders of GOQii. We started the company because we saw like everybody on the 1st of Jan joins the gym, and about the 21st of Jan they actually drop out. We said, that's a big problem. How do we address that? And so our app comes with a fitness tracker. I'm sure some of you must have heard of it, some who haven't. You get a personalized coach who motivates you and guides you, and there's a health store also. And we've got this amazing, a very, very engaging set of customers, and happy to answer any questions for you that you have today on various topics.
Yeah, hi, I'm Chirag. I run a brand called 4700 BC Popcorn. We started with a gourmet popcorn range. Now we do everything around popcorns, from microwave to every solution you can see. We're slowly moving towards building a brand around premium snacks where popcorn is one of the products, and introducing more innovative products from our portfolio, like sweet corns in a ready-to-eat format, coming with chips also in a very different format. So trying to grow like an FMCG company around premium snacks.
Hi guys, I'm Annu from Nurturing Green. We are into a boring business. We're trying to bring nature in every home across the world. In simple language, पौधे बेच रहे हैं. That's what we do. We're trying to organize this 26,000 crore home gardening category and go beyond it also. We recently also started Zamia. That's the world's first hyperlocal gardening marketplace. So trying to make you a better gardener, bring this hobby into every household across the world. And yeah, that's what we do, and happy to take on the questions anybody of you have.
Hi guys, I'm Jeevika Tyagi. I'm also the co-founder and CEO of Aastey. We're in the business of helping women live their best lifestyle, and we happen to make clothes. So we make sustainable athleisure for all body types.
Hi everyone, I am Deepak Gupta. I run the business at Bombay Shaving Company. Our vision at Bombay Shaving Company is to be India's hair removal expert for both men and women, and that's something we are building for last 5 years. Great to be part of this esteemed panel. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Girish, Chaturvedi. We are a tech company. We empower about 5,000 enterprises to basically take their product to their customer in the right channel, right time, right product. So the entire engine is basically powered as.
Great. So I'll probably start by a question which any founder who's looking to start or launch his or her own brand would have. How did you arrive at the name of your brand? I mean, your brand has to symbolize what it stands for. It also has to have a great recall value. It also has to echo with your customers. It has to be catchy so that people remember it. Who wants to start first? Maybe you, Champ.
So we had a story to our brand. And
also, if there was a poll or there was a divine intervention, how did you land up with the name?
No, there was never a divine intervention. But yeah, I don't have the logo here, but that logo itself has a story. And it's actually GOQii. Qi is the Chinese word. That means your inner force. And our company is based on helping you discover your inner force. And that is what it is. And then sharing it and passing it on. So that's how we came up with that name.
So we had the idea of starting with gourmet popcorns, right? And we thought...
Very interesting name. I mean, I would never have guessed that it's a popcorn brand.
So the story behind it is, I mean, popcorn is there as part of our life everywhere, right? We eat in cinemas, we see it on radios and in local markets. But, in India, the perception is very low, right? So we really wanted to, up the game for popcorn, right? How to position it better, right? And we thought, let's start with the history. Let's tell about how popcorn was invented, how it actually grew as a snack, right? So हमने थोड़ा history पढ़ा, बहुत time था शुरू में. So Wikipedia में, there was something that the oldest evidence of humans knew how to make popcorns dated as back as 4700 BC, right? So the idea was that आज से 6700 years पहले भी लोगों को popcorn बनाना आता था. So they found fossils of popcorns in caves of Peru, which dated 4700 BC. So we thought it's a good way to, have a brand story. Probably एक बार, and we have a very good inclination towards the numeric brand names also. I think it has a, one of the things is if you list your brands in an alphabetic order, the numerics always comes on the top, right? Then it gets stuck because it's a number. It's easier to remember than a brand name at times. So overall, I think that's how we came up with our brand name.
So for me, it's a story. It started almost a decade back. And I was in Austria then, and I gifted my mom a bouquet. And when I called her the next day, she said, "Beta, wo to fek diya, rakhna tha kya?" And that's where the yo moment came in, that instead of gifting a bouquet, you gift a plant. And when I came back to India and said, let's start something around it, my vision that time was to do anything which is green. And my whole inspiration in my life was to create wealth for everybody, but do something which is sustainable and meaningful for the overall environment. And that's why we thought, let's nurture anything which is green. And that's why Nurturing Green came in. And this time when we were doing Zamia, we were clear, do naam nahi karne hai, bada naam nahi rakhna hai. So something which is a single word, 5 to 6 letters, .com mil jaye somehow, if possible, and should of course has a story. And Zamia is one of the world's strongest and the most resilient plant species. It's very hard to kill it, and it comes back, and that's why this whole story that in our journey of our business, I think we have to be more resilient, and over a period, we will be such a brand that's very hard to kill. So we don't want to be a unicorn, we want to be a cockroach, which is very, very hard to sort of kill.
Yeah, so I represent Netcore, and we are essentially B2B. So, while you are a B2B company, usually don't so much emphasize on, the branding aspect of it. But we incorporated, about 24 years back, and I think it was basically founded by Rajesh Jain, who's one of the pioneers of, Internet India today. So, which is why we wanted to create everything around the web. So that's how we started with Netcore. Okay, so net was the aspect. And then very recently we got ourselves rebranded from Netcore Solutions to Netcore Cloud, because we realized that everything now is actually moving cloud. So that's how we basically evolved from Netcore Solutions to Netcore Cloud. So that's a quick background about us. Yeah.
Firstly, love the popcorns, Chirag. Great taste. So Aastey is the Hindi word Aastey, Ast, which basically means take it easy, go slow, what's the rush. And how we came up with the name, it's also spelled Aastey, is when we started Aastey, we started it because we just felt that brands were creating a lot of pressure on women in terms of the size they need to be in. Right? So we're a size inclusive brand, and we don't want to take that pressure. Life is about a journey. It's not about where it ends. So, take it easy, live Aastey is something we used to say to each other as co-founders. My co-founder Kanupriya and I used to say, "Are chalta hai yaar, take it easy, like let's live it up." And then we realized there's a Hindi word for it, Aastey, which growing up we all heard from our grandparents, parents, like take it easy. So that's how the brand Aastey came up, and we built a community of women which is called the Aastey tribe that is here to live Aastey.
Great. Deepak?
Let me, in fact, ask the audience. Bombay Shaving Company 5 years back, what do you think would have started from which city? Any guesses?
Bombay.
How many for Bombay? Okay. Any other guesses? Yeah. So we started from Delhi. So our name is Bombay Shaving Company, not because we started from Bombay. I think what we wanted to build is a global brand out of India, and we were digital first new age brand. When we looked at what are the 3 most search words about India on Google, it was Gandhi, Taj Mahal, now Modi, and then Bombay. And obviously you can't take the first 3 names, so we took Bombay. That kind of, because we started with that. And shaving is the largest category men's engage with, so shaving and company. And Bombay also kind of reflects a lot of the values of the brand in terms of very metro, but rooted in tradition, aspirational. Like I think, like Bombay has a different energy whenever you comes to the city. I am from north, but clearly I can see the difference. So that's what Bombay Shaving Company stands for.
Great, so we've got some very interesting anecdotes on how each of them came with their brand names. Moving on to the next question, I think about customer research, and probably we can, relay that to our theme for today. That, given a chance, if you had to launch it now, how would you have done it differently? So when you launched your product, what kind of primary customer research went into it? Did you identify that these are the gaps in the market, this is the price point, these are the product features that are non-existent, and then went to integrate all those in your product? Or you launched it first and then kind of, relayed customer feedback to your product innovation team? Jeevika, do you want to start first?
Sure. When we launched our product, which was fairly recently, we launched it after 1 year. We launched it after 1 year of, we don't call our customers because we didn't start selling, they're our tribe. And how we built this tribe was frankly through just sharing everything we were innovating. We were sharing it with all the immediate women that we had in our, friends and family circle, and women that we knew through our network. And while we were innovating, and why I say innovating in the business of fashion is because we built the first sustainable athleisure brand that is homegrown. And it's not easy to find sustainable blends that are mixed with elastane and it will still give you the stretch. I'm wearing one right now, you can see, and it's quite stretchable. So that took us quite some time, and we weren't sure even if the market is ready for it. So we weren't that confident to share it with everybody. But we were confident that if we share it with women, women are brutal, right? We'll give you feedback if we ask for feedback. They will tell you how things are. So we started sharing our products with our immediate circle. They started resonating. They started giving us feedback. They told us actually what could be changed. We took in that feedback. What we would have done differently, probably launch it sooner. But I think the wait was good because the kind of community that we built through it, it showed us the trust in the company, the trust in Aastey, the trust in the fact that there's a need to live Aastey. And now the final product that we have, that community, were also our immediate shoppers as soon as we launched it. These were the people who were waiting for the products to hit the market. So yeah.
Great. Anybody else who wants to go, Annu?
So we do 4-5 benchmarking for the trends and understanding what's happening. The first is that everybody who joins, especially at the senior management level, including me, have to do once every month at the floor level. So he has to sell. He is a CCA basically at all the stores, any of the stores across India we are, and talk to the customers. That's one we do to get insights. Hum महंगे हैं कि नहीं? I was just hearing Chirag, somebody came and saying, आपका popcorn में ना ऐसा taste नहीं आ रहा है. So that's a customer insights which we also want to have, that plant आपका मर जाता है जल्दी या बहुत महंगा है या सस्ता है, and all that feedback sort of matters, and that creates one. For our online, we do minimum 10 visits every quarter for all the management. They have to deliver the plants in their car. So we take the orders from the D2C, and so if I am in, let's say in Noida, I'll take up 10 orders from Noida and deliver it instead of the ship rocket guys delivering it. And we go there, talk to the people, see where they are putting the plants, why their plants die, or why are they getting into gardening. So that's a second insight to get trends across. Third is we have a WhatsApp group which is called a VOC, where of course we have the software to get trends on what are the customer complaints, but every complaint is being addressed in that group with a photo. So even if and it's mandatory for my team to get that weekly score vetted by me. I have to sign that report every week. So I get to know how many complaints are coming every week for across India for any of these, and gives us a lot of trends again, insights, that what does the customer need, and what are the problems we are facing as a brand, which they sort of don't like. And the fourth is in terms of our internal stakeholders. So our team, we have a 10% price point. We give it to all our employees, anything they want to buy from the store, in finite numbers, and get their feedback that what do they think as a customer and as an employee or as a stakeholder, we should do it better across, and what should be the new trend or a new product line or a new concept we should launch, which gives us again a lot of insight. So these 4 trends sort of which we do gets us a lot of insights on what are our customers wanting, and I think this has been fairly successful for us till now.
Sure.
I think when we start something new, like when a founder wants to think kuch karna hai, I think the hunch comes is ki kuch karna hai yaar. Matlab, like we have to do something, right? And I think the first point which everybody wants to try to find is obviously a gap in the market, right? How much research goes into it in your first project? I think, I don't know. Like, I mean, you do a research, but it's how relevant it is. Like me coming from a computer science background trying to sell popcorns, I don't know how much relevant research I did when I started, right? The only the thing which kicked off for us was kuch karna hai, kuch different karna hai, and let's find a gap in the market, right? Once you get more experience, more seasoned in what you're doing, I think the follow-ups gets more research into it, more customer data into it. And, so your follow-up products, what I personally feel are better launched, right? You know your customer better, you are able to get the sales upfront initially for those products, you know why are you launching those products, so you have a story behind it, which is more relevant, I would say, than the first story, which is like, कि आपने popcorn बेचना क्यों शुरू किया after doing BTech or a computer science, right? So you don't have a story there. So you basically just find a gap in the market, you believe in yourself, you want to do something, and you just go for it. And I think follow-up, I think, as he said, right, we do a lot of research, and now what we understand better, and then we launch a product.
So within our app, we have something called the GOQii Health Store, where we work with a lot of D2C brands. What's very interesting about the health store is we have lakhs of users who are our captive audience. And what we do is, a lot of the brands now work with us to find out whether a product chalne wala hai, nahi chalne wala hai before they go to market. So they launch products on the GOQii Health Store because, our business we engage with our users like every day. So we can get feedback, we can get, whatever they want, what their demands are on a real-time basis because we're chatting with them like every minute of the day, right? So we help brands also actually build all of that and give them feedback for what they specifically want.
Having a community helps because then you have a captive audience to give you feedback. Deepak, anything?
I think for us, if you look at the personal care industry in India, I think for decades has been built around women. Like take any brand, has always been kind of working on making women beautiful. And I think there are a lot of societal reason for that. In last 5-7 years, you are seeing a lot of men's personal care brands coming into the space. I think with men, there are 2-3 problems. One is men don't talk to each other in terms of कि आज क्या लगाया, कौन सा product use किया, कौन सा brand use करता है, right? Secondly, and because of that, men don't know what to use beyond regular lotion, moisturizing cream or face wash, that too lying in the bathroom shelf bought by someone, right? So the onus on the brand to make sure they give the right education and products to the consumers is a lot more. So we don't sell individual products a lot, we sell a lot of regimens. Like shaving is the basic core a man will do who shave, or trimming is a basic core a men will do who keep beard, right? So we don't sell a shaving cream, we sell a 6-part shaving system, which is 6 parts of doing the shaving in a right way. Because that's where the 5 minute of your beauty regimen is, right? Or a beard care regimen of 5 steps. So you kind of immerse yourself and enjoy it for 5 minutes. So that's what we do, right? One is kind of as a brand and then make consumer experience the entire regimen and then they buy individual products. Second is again, I think shaving industry or hair removal industry in India is dominated by global brands. We believe that the products are, Indian consumer skin is very different in different states, right? So one product doesn't fit all. So we use a lot of Indian ingredients like turmeric, fit curry, like we have a fit curry aftershave gel, right? This LM has been used for centuries in salons, etc., but kind of nobody has bought it back. So I think a lot of this kind of ingredient focus goes into the product. And third is, obviously we are online first brands, we get a lot of first party consumer data which we use. Consumers reach out to us and kind of share their problems which we work on that.
Great. So I think everybody is obsessed with customers, and that's very important for any brand to listen intently pre-post launch of their products. My next question is for Girish. So customer engagement is very, very important, and we were just discussing. If you can highlight how your platform enables brands to have a single window of their customers, whether they are landing, through a Google search on the website or directly coming on the app. How do you ensure that you're generating enough value for the brand to just help them in increasing conversion or increasing retention, etc.?
Sure. I think it's a good question. Today the customers are omnipresent. Okay, so they're basically coming, searching for you. They're basically reading about you on your social pages. They're reading content. Influencers are talking about your brand. They're coming to your website. They're basically looking up for your app. So the fact is that you have multiple touch points. The point is that how do you give an omni-channel experience which is completely seamless to your customers. Now what we do is we stitch all of them together, which means that if your customers are coming and searching for something and then coming to your website and looking for something else, you don't have to get that experience broken. You don't want that guy to come again and search for the same product. So if you have that intelligence being connected, that this guy has come and he searched for certain keywords, and if you basically extend that in your website, I think that's the experience that your customers are looking for. So how do you basically give that seamless experience across touch points? So that's the first point. The second thing is that today, customers today are buying at multiple touch points. So they come to your website to buy your product. They are your apps to buy your product. They have marketplaces. And now today the bots and the commerce aspect that's coming. So again here, if you could basically connect all of that, and obviously keeping the marketplace aside, that if somebody's come and left you during the course of your transaction, he's basically left out in the cart, how do you basically reach back to the same customer across multi-channel? So let's say he's come to your app and you're sending him notification, but he's not responding to your notification. Can you pick that same cohort and send him a WhatsApp? And the same catalog which he can pick and do a transaction within the WhatsApp environment. So what essentially you're doing is you're not basically getting the guy come back to your app, but you know where the guy has dropped, and you're now persuading him to complete the transaction on a different environment, which is perhaps WhatsApp. So if you are able to connect this omnipresent environment to the customer, I think that's what the customer is looking at, and that will delight the customers. And we actually empower that. And yeah, so that's what it is.
Great. So not missing out any touch point, interface point with the customer at all. So my next question is that, community commerce playbook has been a lot talked about in the last couple of months. So my question to the founders is, how important is building a community around your brand, and how do you leverage the community to reduce customer acquisition cost down the line? We'll start with you, Champ.
So, I was in the car with another friend on my way here, and I was telling him, the day you can get a community around your brand and word of mouth, you're home. You probably don't even need to raise money. You just need to go with the flow. Of course, building community comes from various things depending on, of course, what business you're in, firstly. Our business runs on communities. The moment people get fit, they see result, they recommend it to their friends. That's how we actually build community. And the bigger challenge for us in the early days was, how do we spread our wings to build communities across different cities and different stratas and, at different times? And one of the funniest things we did in the early days, which actually worked, was something, we started a program called Active Sunday, okay? And then we realized, guys, nobody wants to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and show up on a Sunday. And then we said, but look at all these marathoners, they show up on a Sunday morning. Why aren't our users coming on a Sunday morning? And then what we saw was, the moment, health is such a thing, is, you get lazy until something ticks within you, and then you say, oh, I can't live without this. Then it becomes your lifestyle and you can't give up. The moment we achieved that milestone, we got overwhelmed and we said, wow. Now, there was one active Sunday, we had more than 150 or 200 people, and the cops had to come and say, please get out of here. So I think that is what happened a couple of years ago, and that's how we actually built community over community. And we built the feature within the app itself where users can interact with each other and motivate each other and so on.
Great. Do you want to go next, Chirag?
Running a consumer brand, I think mass market consumer brand, we don't have like a fixed community of people which we can always track, right? I mean, we have data in which we retarget, but I think, one thing which we've done is, we've been marketing our products to the right communities, right? So what we've done is, for example, nobody thought popcorn and gifting works, right? That's one area which we actually kind of created, right? And we every year the numbers are going up and up in that category, right? India is still a country which is dominated in gifting by Cadbury and Mondelez, right? There's no third brand which comes to mind, right? It's all mithais. So I think that's where we've been targeting a lot, and how we target is we go to the places where actually those things are happening on ground, right? So we are all the gifting shops. We are there where Cadbury's and Mondelez are selling. We are just right there. We spend a lot of money just being there, right, for the initial days. Pushing a lot on the chocolate keyword, which is one of the highest selling keywords across on all the digital platforms. And once we understand where is our consumer, there's a lot of Facebook groups also, which is around these, where we go and target those consumers. But the idea is, once we get those customers, is how do we hold on to those customers, right? And we be building our customer, segments where we say, okay, this customer actually bought something from us on Valentine, right? We need to be ensure we are right there when he thinks about Raksha Bandhan or Diwali or Christmas, right? So that's how we also bring our segments. We always try to push ready to eat as a category versus ready to cook. But I think being in popcorn category, I think there's still users who still think ready to cook is warm and fresh and all that feeling, right? So when we launched our ready to cook, we went out with that community who wants to see ready to cook, still has microwave at their homes, who wants to, who have been buying all the ready to cook kind of equipments, right? So we've been targeting those consumers over a period of time. We got that data, how they came to us, what kind of product they are buying. I mean, if in the journey of a consumer they already bought a ready to cook product, then that's how we target. Right? If they have bought ready to eat once in a while, that's how differently we go and target them. So I think for us, the only way of building customer data is website, right? Digital platforms, and we are trying to be as smart as we could based on that purchase history. Right?
Great.
So when we started in 2010, I think we had no vision around the community part. My only push to my teams was Zada Paudhe Becho, that's it. Push sales, push the pedal on the channel growth. But by 2015, 16, when we were scaling up or building up actually the online business, we realized that how important community is, because we were clear around that time that we will never make money on online, and the CAC will keep going up in the next 5-10 years. It's only Google and Facebook will ever make money out of our pockets. And that's the time we realized what's other growth hacks to sort of reduce our CAC, and content came out to be one, because in our category, जब लोग gardening शुरू करते हैं, it's totally unorganized, and everybody realizes that they don't have a green thumb, जो कि उनके plant मर जाते हैं. Right? And we realized what can we do differently from the nurseries to make sure that your plant never dies, and content and plant care became a very important aspect of it. So by 2017-18, we started creating content. That's where, Nitin, who's from Zerodha, I was talking to him, and he built brand or the whole, I mean, for Zerodha, the CAC is 0 right now, right? Because they have huge traffic coming through content. And that's what we started creating. And so at Zamia, we had Zamia Plus, which is your personalized plant doctor. At Nurturing Green, we have My Plant, My Baby, where we help our community become a better plant parent. And that's scaling up. It's a long-term sort of vision for everybody. It's a lot of cost initially. And people sort of give up. They're not disciplined around. But we realized that we have to be disciplined for years before we start getting these community to transact again. And now is the time when we are seeing lot of repeat purchases and a lot of people who are on our platform or on our YouTube channel, they are sort of coming up and buying more products from us. So I think we have realized the hard way that community is a must if you want to run a D2C brand or even an omni-channel brand.
Very interesting.
So for us at Aastey, I think community is everything. I said this before, our Aastey tribe is our biggest moat, and we are here because of the tribe that we built over this past 1 year. And why this community is so crucial to us is because firstly, it's very easy to get associated with Aastey's community, because what essentially means to be a part of Aastey's community is that you're dismissing everything that puts pressure on you, right? So anybody can live Aastey by saying, I dismiss this pressure of wearing jeans to jeans for dinner every day, and you're part of the community. It's that simple. So it's very relatable. It's for anybody and everybody who's here to take it easy, here to live Aastey. When even a decade back, when I couldn't keep up, I was just chatting with you outside, I couldn't keep up with my Wall Street job in New York because there was just too much pressure. And I dismissed that. And I guess that's the first time I became part of this community. And similarly, for the past 1 year, there are women who have resonated with us, who have said that, yes, gone are the days that we need to depend on Instagram filters and the magazine culture where we need to be a certain size, shape, and body type. We're going to be the way we want to be. And you brands need to make clothes of our size. And that's our community speaking. They're literally shouting and saying that create solutions around us, not the other way around, yeah? Clothes are meant to fit your body. And body should not be altered as per clothes. That's one. So those are the people who resonate with our Live Aastey community. The other part that makes you part of the Aastey community is, of course, the entire sustainability angle. So we built this company during the lockdown, and that was the first time the environment in front of, I guess, our generation openly shouted that it needs help, and you got to do something about it. And it was time changing, right? A lot of us may be using plastic water bottles at home, but in today's day and age, you can't say that. You'll still say, yes, I care about the environment and I'm going to use and replace a glass bottle. And those are the people who are part of our community. These are not just people who have taken the first step, but they've had the first thought that, yes, I care about the environment and I'm going to switch to a sustainable lifestyle. So even during the innovation stage, it was our community that gave us feedback. These were women who really were with us on this Live Aastey aspect. And even now, we are definitely community first business. And we'll continue to do so. Even simple things like picking up the phone and speaking to customers, we're doing that. We're doing that ourselves. I speak to 10 customers daily, and we get the same feedback. It's all word of mouth that they resonate with the Live Aastey aspect. Thank you.
Great.
I think apart from the obvious reason of lower CAC, I think one fundamental shift in the consumer behavior that's happening is now consumers are no longer comfortable buying directly from what brand is saying. Like brighter skin in 5 minutes if you use it for 30 days as a claim on a national TV may not work for a lot of consumers now. So consumers now want to hear from other consumers what they are saying, what they are buying, and what brand purpose is, right? So I think communities solve this for the brand. So community is very important from that perspective for us. Second is, I think the testing of or experimentation becomes very easy, whether it is testing an idea, testing a new launch, or even testing a market campaign, because typically an engaged community is very brutal also. It's a two-way communication. They don't only take what kind of brands show it to them, they also kind of give it back. So I think, so the honest, engaged community keep us honest and on our toes into what we are doing. So I think that also helps us get better all the time.
Great. Girish, would you like to add something?
Oh yeah. I think we basically are a technology company, so all of you are basically the one who uses our platform. So we really work with the digital first leaders who actually uses the tech stack and have demonstrated the results, because that just adds more credibility. So what we really do is somebody who's taken a piece of tech, has actually seen results, and when he comes and talks about it, I think it adds a lot of credibility. Otherwise, you have a tech stack, but if somebody doesn't use it to its full potential, you're not really unleashing the power of it. So what we do is two things. We work with people who have actually, used the tech stack, has got results. When they come and talk about it, they endorse the power of tech stack. I think that's one. The second thing is that, technology is ever evolving. So there are problem statements that our tech stacks are trying to solve. So we are constantly engaging with these marketers to figure out what are the pain points. Okay, what are the pain points that they're still living with on a day-to-day basis, and we go work with them. It's sort of a beta before you actually take the product live, so that the problems are getting resolved. So there is someone that they can look forward for, who is working to solve their problems for future. So I think these are the two ways that we basically take this. Yeah.
Great. So I think everybody resonates that building a community around your brand is very important. It definitely creates a loyal customer base. It's also easy to test out products, inform customers of new product lines or whatever you've launched, or some sale that is going on, etc. And just, it could be a lot of people in the same life cycle event, and they could relate to that, or it could be just a philosophy or way of life, a lifestyle thing that people relate to. But I think every brand is enduring and, really trying to make that community for themselves. Now, my next question is, and I think I'll start with Annu here, is that everybody, all D2C companies scale to a certain stage, and then they start thinking, how do I use offline channels better to scale my business? And all D2C companies in the last 2-3 years, I think, largely what at least I have seen is the moment they reach 100 crore ARR, which is the annualized revenue run rate, they start thinking about what are the other distribution channels, how can I use the retail chains, modern trade, general trade better in my business. Annu here started with offline channels and then started, online sales. So I'd like to start with you on, how did you go about that journey for your brand?
So when I started, I was 22, and this was 2010 days. I'm old now. And that time, there was no D2C per se, by the way. So the only option from the channel perspective was either you do modern retail or you do general retail, general trade. So we, of course, realized where our customers were then and realized that people go to home centers or hometowns of the world to buy furniture and home decor, and that's where they can probably find a plant or such gardening products. So of course we went to a modern trade and we scaled that business till the time we realized that we were doing 2-3 crores of sort of a monthly turnover. We kept scaling that up across multiple cities by city. So we started with NCR, then to Bangalore, then Chennai, Hyderabad, then North, and so on and so forth. While this was happening, we realized that our production was also going up parallelly, and we needed another source of channel to scale. This was 2015-16, and that's where we went to general trade, realizing that India has 2 lakh nurseries, 26,000 crore mein, 25,999 crore abhi bhi offline log nursery jaake kharidte hain. So I said, let's create a brand and start supplying there. So that's how general trade happened. And then 2015, I think 15 onwards, that's where we first met Amazon, and Amazon said, you know what? In US, we are almost doing $200 million in sort of plant sales, and we want to replicate this in India. Right now, we do Amazon does somewhere around 1,000 crores in this category. And they said, this is possible, because that time I couldn't have imagined that how can people buy plants online? They want to feel that. And that was a time when people were selling lingerie and anything and everything, even a shoe where people didn't know their sizes and they were ordering and it was happening. We thought that's something now to start exploring as a channel. So we went online, and while we were doing online, we realized marketplace has to be, because creating a distribution from day one is very tough for a brand like us. So we of course used Amazon as a host to sort of get our distribution right, get our customers visibility right. So we started doing them, and also at the same time, it's easy to do. I mean, now that I look at, and Chirag was telling in the previous session, it's different. Online, you have a different sets of problem. You need to have a better distribution in terms of your supply chain. across. So we tried to sort of figured out how we can have our distribution sorted. Delhi se plant Bangalore जाएगा तो volume weight बहुत ज़्यादा है, plant मर जाएगा. So if a Bangalore customer orders, it has to be delivered from Bangalore. So that's why we started building in the last 4-5 years different warehouses and hubs across India to say can we deliver faster and safer and cheaper to the customer and save more money in the working capital cycle. So we went across and then started doing more of warehouses, and that's what helped us to build a D2C strategy also. So this was COVID when offline was shut, and we were not happy because business was down. It forced us to think otherwise, saying was Amazon will not help you make money in the long run, offline band hai. What do we do now? And that's where we said, let's start doing D2C more aggressively. Otherwise, it was always on a sort of a back burner for us because it's a hard thing to crack. Initially, first 2-3 years of D2C is always hard. You will not make money. You have to sort a lot of problems. A lot of tech has to be sort of integrated in the supply chain. So yes, but that's a good bane for us. COVID helped us understand or forced us to think on D2C lines much faster. And the next 5 years, we will probably be 80% revenue generation coming from online. And out of that 80%, I think 50% will be D2C and 50% will be marketplaces. We always want to be an omni-channel as a play because that's the experience we want to give to the customers. And I think I'm talking to more and more founders and seeing a lot of data across the world. The world will go omni-channel, be Amazon going to buy Whole Foods or ShopperStop going to shopperstop.com. I think offline players, big biggies will want to come, the digital world and the digital guys will want to go the offline play. Of course, tech has to be that integrator. If you are not able to solve that, you will never be able to scale. So for us, that's been the journey and that's what the future sort of holds for us.
Sure. Chirag, what is your potent channel for distribution?
So we also started offline, right? Because we thought popcorn online can't kharidega initially, right? This is way back 6-7 years back, right? But I personally think the whole D2C, I mean, it also depends where you are in the journey, right? So when we started offline and we thought about, yeah, sub D2C kar rahe, are we doing something wrong, right? Are we missing something, right? And we thought in our story, what is the purpose D2C will solve for a consumer, right? So we had 2 use cases basis on which we built our D2C. One was, retail distribution takes time. It's not like somebody had my popcorn somewhere and they go to the market and they can buy another one. It's not something where we are at a stage right now. So our thought was, if somebody had a popcorn, they should know where they can buy. And at the first place they can go and buy is obviously our website, right? So they should know, okay, I found this product interesting. Okay, I go to the website and I can see what else they offer and let me buy that, right? And then second use case, I think, which we're trying to build is, what can I offer to a consumer which is not available on an Amazon or a Reliance store or a DMart store, right? And what we found is, when it comes to snacking, when it comes to popcorn, everybody has their own preferences, right? Somebody says, you might come and say, Chirag, I love your cheese popcorn, but I'd like to probably mix it with chocolate popcorns. Can you do that for me, right? That's something which we can only do on our website, right? So that's the kind of experience we are trying to build on our website versus which is never possible in an offline channel probably, right? And as we were talking, right, once we have the data, right, there's so many people who are actually eating cheese popcorn with chocolate popcorn, then we can probably launch that on offline, right? But that's the kind of use cases we are looking for, which will solve the existence of D2C in our whole ecosystem. I personally think, everybody thinks offline is, if you're in India, you have to do offline, right? As simple as that. I mean, still 93% of the business comes from offline. Online only solves 7% of the problem. And being in a mass consumer brand, I think you have to come offline. But I think if people think D2C is tough, right, then modern trade is tougher, right? And GT is the biggest animal, right? Because it's not easy to enter GT. GT for even if you're a 100 crore brand, right? If you're in 200 crore brand, GT is tough, right?
Getting shelf space or
Right.
just the mind space of the salespeople at this
I mean,
point.
as simple, if you look at pan-India brands, right, you can count on fingers how many people have cracked GT, right? There's PepsiCo, there's Haldiram, there's probably ITC and HULs, right? Is there any other brand who's pan-India presence and doing GT properly? No, right? It's a very difficult game altogether. I mean, we last 1 year we've been trying to do GT only in Delhi, and we realized, right, we thought we'll do better, but we need a lot more SKUs. We just have 50 people doing GT in Delhi, and still, I mean, the ROI is not coming, right? I mean, our product is selling well, but we realize we need more SKUs for those people to go and sell. अब अगर एक ITC का बंदा एक shop पे जाता है, you see they have a tick mark list of things they can sell to a shop. Whereas my sales guy go, they only have like 5 products to sell, right? वहीं पे उसका sales cost बढ़ जाता है. So offline is important. I mean, everybody has to come offline, but there has to be right stage. You need to build that experience to realize how do you have to come in offline mode. You need to have the product mix for offline. Probably what sells online doesn't necessarily means will sell offline. All of us, we are trying to increase our AOV for our website, right? Trying to sell a higher MRP product, trying to sell pack of 4, pack of 5, pack of 10, right? That doesn't really work much in offline, right? People are looking for single purchase, 50, 100 rupees is the ticket size.
Smaller SKUs.
Right, smaller SKUs, right? So you need to get all those things right. Otherwise, you would be offline, but you will be present across like 1,000 shops, 5,000 shops, and your still ROI won't come because the sales cost is still high, right? So I think depends on product, positioning and all those things also, but I think you need to look at your product mix and you need to have a lot of money in your bank to actually go into GT, or you need to have a lot of patience to build that retail game than just say, I'm going to be across India. I think that would never work for somebody. Start small, be in a localized area, build it up. So now what we're trying is just be there in every shop in South Delhi. If you do well, then do it Delhi level. If you do Delhi well, then go to all metros. If you do that well, then expand to regional areas. I think that's the approach what we are taking to build offline, but need a lot of money and patience to build offline. Right?
Sure, I think as you said, it's every brand's individual journey and they need to figure out. I don't think there's one size fits all. And what I've also seen that, once you've created a mind space and a following for your brand, it becomes easier to get shelf space at the GT level. So in that sense, starting digitally first, and once people know your brand, the retail kirana guy will also be okay, कि ठीक है आपका product stock करेंगे तो बिक जाएगा.
No, definitely. I mean, from a test case perspective, definitely, right? I mean, D2C solves that purpose perfectly for everybody. I mean, it also helps you to understand what you need to do next, right? So definitely D2C is your, if somebody is starting today, I think D2C is the starting point. And then modern trade and then general trade, right?
Yeah, but hybrid model is a must in a country like India.
Down the line, everybody, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So given the time, I'll just ask one question to Deepak and Champ here, and probably then one more question which I want to ask everyone is, every brand spends a lot on performance marketing. At what stage do you decide that now there is some branding initiative that needs to be done? I need to hire a celebrity who will endorse my brand in some TV commercial or a hoarding or anything, any ATL activity. When is the right stage to think about that?
I think there is no right time. There are brands who have done it from day zero, and there are brands who have done it at much later stage. I think it all depends on what you want to stand for as a brand, and if and in India, I think definitely a celebrity works. Whether it is cricket, Bollywood, it works. If you are in the early stage itself, you are able to kind of get a celebrity on board and able to kind of communicate your brand message, I think should be done in the early stage. But yeah, I think every brand kind of are in different stages to kind of do that kind of investment. I think to your first part, which is the performance marketing, and just to kind of building upon the previous question also, I think what D2C does is it breaks the traditional barriers of distribution and marketing, which is the traditional marketing, which is mass media, and the barriers of distribution of going to X retail stores to be present and build sales, right? But this is a channel, right? And now to acquire consumers, you need to do performance marketing for some time, then you start building communities, and then you start building brand pull so that consumers kind of start coming organically. But I think if brand is able to create brand pull, if brand is able to, I think, build the brand pool early on by getting some celebrity endorsement or getting celebrity on board as equity investor, etc. I think it's helpful. It reduces your inefficient. I will always say performance marketing is an inefficient spend. It's getting more expensive. So if you are able to kind of get a celebrity on board or some sort of brand supporter, please do it early on. And now, for example, as a brand, as we are going offline, we realize the importance of top of the mind awareness through kind of these endorsement. We have got 2-3 celebrities, and now we are also with the official grooming partner of Mumbai Indians, right? So the brand kind of is now visible on national TV and to much more audience. So there's never a right time. I think as an entrepreneurs, we need to take call. This is a hard call, but I think it's worth the while. So that's what my take on this.
Deepak, sorry, I just want to add to something that you said. I think you have a very interesting point. That, when do you take a call? I think one more thing that, founders, marketers, owners, have to perhaps look at it is that, how much would you acquire? How much would you spend to acquire? And why do you need to keep acquiring? I think one thing that's fundamentally been based upon is that you got a set of customers. What do you do to basically get him consume more of your brand? Obviously, if your brand is consumable again, how do you get your consumers to basically recommend? So how do you basically, improve your LTV? And if you have a high LTV, obviously your CAC comes down. The second thing is how do you basically get your customers become your brand endorsers and they start endorsing your brand? That also basically, reduces your cost of acquisition. So, rather than basically having a strategy that, I have a performance marketer who will keep improvising my, Facebook spends, my Google spends, I think one should also introspect and say, why do I need to have more and more customers? Why not that, look at my customers and basically get more from them? So I think that's a fundamental shift that, most of the brand would perhaps have to do. Today the money is easy, the money is coming easy, so, you don't really care. You want to keep spending and grab a larger share. But eventually when you want to run a profitable business, I think the only way to run profitable business is to basically get more from your own customer. So two aspects, are we basically looking at the right cohort of your customers? So, your customers who's actually giving you the best ROI. Okay, so most profitable customer. At the same time, is there a customer who's not my profitable customer, where I'm spending money to get him, but I don't eventually get anything out of that? So can I suppress that persona? And if you're able to basically very clearly define that this is the set of persona that I want to clearly not acquire because I don't make money out of them, and I suppress that persona, and I know these are the kind of personas which if I acquire, they stay with me, they get me more customers, they're more profitable to me. I think that's a way to run a profitable business.
Very valid point. I think it's very important to make sure the profitability is intact, otherwise you can't scale.
Absolutely.
So for us, it was a little different. I mean, my thinking is also a little different with this. So, every year, because of all our user data, right, we publish this report called the India Fit Report. And it's like a very big, very comprehensive report you can download off the internet for the year. But one thing that came up every year was, who was the first person you would look at as a brand ambassador for health? And it was Narendra Modi. And the second was Akshay Kumar. And these guys were like the two commons year after year, except for the first year was Baba Ramdev. And we said, hey, we can't speak to the Prime Minister. Well, we did, but we can't get him as a brand ambassador. But let's get Akshay Kumar on board. And, in the life cycle of anybody's brand, it's a bold step because he's probably one of the most expensive celebrities around. And, there are a lot of founders here, I'm sure, in the room. And, being a founder, starting a brand itself is a hustle, right? And getting a brand ambassador becomes a chicken and egg story at any given time. But if you want to do something, you go, you speak to him. And he was just so excited about what we're doing because it resonated with him. He came on board. And then we said, hey, let's figure out how to get the money out after that. But the first is, who do we want? Who does he resonate with? Does it work for him? and the rest, and now he's just like a friend, and now he calls, he says, yaar, ye to karna hi hai, and that's what it is.
Great. Actually, my last question, which was to everyone, and I hope we'll finish it in time, is, when you hire, what are the key attributes that you look for in people? And is it a difference between when the company is in the 0 to 1 stage or 1 to 10? And any tips that you would want to share on hiring and retention?
So being a startup is always 0 to 1 stage at some point or the other. So, we've kind of established scale from 0 to 1 amongst so many aspects today. But we're starting all over again. We're launching the GOQii metaverse in the next 3 months. And that's again 0 to 1. We're launching the GOQii token, which is like, your Bitcoin or your token. That's again 0 to 1. It is very, very different. There are 2 different types of people. There's a kind, I don't mean to stereotype the 2, but they're personas. There are guys who like doing 0 to 1. There are guys who like doing 1 to 100, whatever. And most founders I've met are 0 to 1. And if it's very difficult for that DNA to change from 0 to 1. So if you want to scale, take it from 1 to 100, I would suggest look for a team that can actually drive that, and you start something else within the company. That you can start as a different vertical or drive it differently. Yeah.
So when I look to hire people, I think, we look for somebody who has passion for food, first of all, right? Somebody, because selling food or versus, I think, like he's in the health sector, right? Somebody should be fed, should have inclination towards fitness, right? So we look for somebody who has passion for food, right? First of all, right? And I think, what we look for is we try to build a team, and we try to always have certain people in a team who are have an entrepreneur mindset, right? Or who brings a fresh perspective into the team, right? So while so if there's a marketing team, there's a set of experienced people, and there's a set of people who are completely freshers, right? And like for us, a founder doesn't have all the attributes, right? So you need people who can even guide the founders in the right direction, right? So you need such set of people also in your team. So probably I might be good at sales, but I might not be good at marketing, right? So I probably bank on somebody who's as experienced and who can tell us, okay, Chirag, you're thinking great, but you're not thinking it right? So probably we should do this way, right? And there should be a bunch of people who are saying, let's do this, let's do that, right? Why are you not doing this, right? So some kind of energy which is always there in the team to try something different, right? And we are also trying to be in a category which is different, which is not built yet. We're trying to doing a category creation kind of a thing, right? So we need those people who brings new ideas all the time. So that's how we have structured the team, right? So every team has some experience and some freshness, right? And every team has at least 3 interns always working for them, right? Because that also keeps the energy level up all the time, right? So that's how we have actually trying to structure, so mix of experience and freshness. And I think, as he rightly said, right, so when you hire fresh talent, right, you were able to figure out whether they can be, long-term player for you, or they're just looking for experience and probably move on kind of a players, and then you take them and build them up, right? And they probably become the next level guys for you, right? So yeah.
So for us, we have done so many bad hires, and we have failed so many times that now that we have put a benchmark and 2 frameworks which we follow. The first framework is we look at three characteristics. The first and the foremost is the trust. So can we trust, is the person trustworthy or not? Second is about the attitude, and so trust has the 40% weightage in our overall hiring process. Second is about the attitude. So even if is he a go-getter or not, is he or she a person who is ready to fail, who is okay to sort of fail fast and sort of have that attitude. Third, and this is again also a 40% weightage we give, and then 20% is given on the capability. So in our industry, there's no farmer where we can poach from. So there are no brands who are bigger than us. So which means that we have to go to the substitute or similar industry brands to get good talent. So, and we knew that we will never have guys who will have probably capabilities in our field. So capability is something which can be acquired over a period of time if the first and second framework has been followed, or parameters are followed. So that's one which we sort of look at. And second framework which we follow is that do we have the right balance of age, experience, and the new guys. So our average age in our company is 27 right now, which means that there are a lot of fresh ideas because they are more tech savvy. The young kids are much more tech savvy than us. And then there are people who are experienced enough to give us the direction into the company. So that's the other framework what we sort of look at currently in hiring.
Apoorva, we are in the 0 to 10 stage, so very early on. So it's very simple how we are going about our hiring. We're looking for, always looking for people who are multi-talented. And what we're looking for is people who use 80% of their skills and 20% to pick up all the other work that's required, because each one of us at this stage have to maximize our efforts. So if somebody is handling our tech, it's probably the same person who's also looking into the analytics side. If somebody is a brand marketeer, that's not good enough for us. We also need somebody who understands performance marketing as well. And of course, as we're scaling up, for every 3 junior people, very similar, we have 1 leader on top of that. And at all times, we have interns. The average age at Aastey is 22 if we remove my co-founder and my age. And we mostly work with Gen Zs right now. So the team is filled with cool ideas and cool tech at all times.
I think for us, we tend to hire people who can make you or their managers irrelevant quickly. I think that's the bottom line. And we don't hire from pedigree, but make sure that these people kind of become so successful that they don't leave us for any other job, but to start on their own. So that's what we live by.
You stole my words here. Okay, so I think what we really look at is, we look at people with the entrepreneurial mindset. And that's very important because, when somebody comes with that entrepreneurial mindset, you don't blame anyone. Even if you're restrained with, or constrained with, resources, you will figure out ways to basically get stuff. And I think that's very important, that if the resource that you hire has an entrepreneurial mindset, he will find ways to get the job done. So I think that's very, very important. And I think that's the first thing that we check when you hire someone. The second thing is the passion. Okay, if he's not passionate about the industry that you're working with, if he's not passionate about the work that you do, whatever, stuff that you give to him, the salaries, the perks, everything else, he will find way to move on. So I think these are 2 very, very important things that we look at a very macro level. That one, what is the mindset that he comes with? Second, how much is he passionate about what he does? Okay, this is broadly what we look at, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed myself, and I hope the audience got new learnings that they can take back home.
Thanks a lot for wonderful host.